Hello, happy people. It's another version of the Scrum Chatroom, and today our focus is on what it takes to land a Scrum Master job. And it's going to be an exciting journey because I have some amazing people in here. We're going to be sharing what they've actually been through, actually going through the process, which many of you are going through now, and being in the space where they're actually implementing. I think there is kind of so much to discuss today. But then, one of the things, we're here because you're there. So, we're also going to have the opportunity not just to talk about how to land your first Scrum Master job, but also to respond to your questions. What questions do you have, and how can we help you answer them? So, get ready. It's going to be 1 hour, exciting 1 hour of just having this moment talking about Agile. Any question about Agile, right? You're free to ask. Now, while you're joining in, I want you to drop a comment, tell us where you are watching us from, while we go ahead and introduce our guest speakers for today. So, today we have our senior Agile coach all the way from Atlanta, Coach Ella. And Coach Ella, it's definitely um, bringing on board not just the Scrum aspect, but trust me, you're gonna love her when she start answering the questions, right? Because she's gonna tell you really, hey, Koshola, welcome to the Scrum chat room.
Thank you very much, Dr. Francis. I'm very happy to be here, and I can't wait to go start off with getting to communicate with the audience. So thank
All
you for
right.
having me.
Thank you very much. And then let's go. Our second guest for today is Coach Catherine, connecting all the way from Illinois. Illinois is very cool.
Yes, it
Telling
is.
us today.
Hello everyone. Thank you, Doc, for it's a big privilege for me to be here, and I can't wait to answer your questions and just share my knowledge with you all, the audience. Thank you, Doc.
All right, and all the way from Dallas, Texas, we are connecting to ensure that you have a really great evening session. Now, I see already some people joining. Hey, I see Coach Kima all the way from Germany. I see Coach Loveline also connecting there. Please, we want to give you a shout out, and let me check and see my LinkedIn family. I know you are all there. Make sure that you drop the comment. I want you to do me a favor. Just make sure that you share this video. Share. Let's get a lot of people on board. This is a day you hardly have it like just like this. Trust me, it's gonna be an exciting one. So go ahead and share. Now, one of the things we definitely don't want to do is waste your time. So we want to go straight into business. And our first question, which we're gonna deal with today, while waiting for your questions to come in, the first question we are going to be talking about today is going to be what does it what is it like working as a scrum master, and we want to start with Coach Ella. Coach Ella, what's your experience? What's it like working as a scrum master? How does it feel working as a scrum master?
Thank you very much, Doc. I always like to say there's a difference between working hard and working smart. So one thing I love about being a Scrum Master is you work smart, right? Um, and the beauty with it is you get to meet all of these amazing people because beyond just my team members, I'm able to meet with key stakeholders and overall, being part of the overall process of how the software development world works and getting to learn new things. I must say is very amazing, and um, I'm really happy that I was able to take on this part. Like I said, there's so much to learn, a lot of people to work with, and you get to understand a lot of things, not only at the level of the team, but also at the level of the portfolio, which is what I always dreamt of and what I always look for. And yes, so it's
Thank
um,
you very much. And she actually used a very good word, portfolio. I think a lot of people are like, what's portfolio all about? Don't bother. We're going to come to kind of breaking down the word together. And Coach Catherine, over to you. What's your experience like working as Scrum Master and being in the field?
So, my experience has been great. It's such a great, yeah. So, Yeah, it's been a great experience for me, and just meeting people and supporting people and seeing people win brings me a lot of joy. And just getting to teach people the agile mindset, and that, like Coach Ella said, working with stakeholders and having those meetings with people that matter, you get to learn a lot. And you know that there's more to like the products we use, and being there to also support the process is such a fulfilling. It just gives me fulfillment. It brings so much fulfillment to see that you're part of the bigger picture. So it's a
Well,
great
thank you very
part.
much. I cannot agree less, right? I think proud to this session. I just jumped off a meeting, and no, I was just listening to how people who are in the space of decision are actually talking about the budget and how things are really actually being done. And one of the benefits for me working in the space of Scrum is not just the six figure. Yes, the six figure. That's one of the best part, right? It motivates us. But aside from that, I think the six figure is good, dude. I wouldn't. I want to say that. But then apart from that, one main important thing which I think a lot of people miss out is the satisfaction and the leadership potential. You know, when you are in an environment where you see people that matters, it change the way you
You
think, it
think.
change the way you look at things. It's a whole leadership. And you're working also with expert people that know it. So you train yourself on how to engage yourself, how to carry yourself. I say it's quite a rewarding. It's quite a rewarding career. All right. So our second question we're gonna answer today, and probably when we get to the third question, we're gonna open up for question and answers so that the public can also ask their question. We want to talk about since the major topic for today is what it takes to land a Scrum job. At least we've had some bit of insight what it takes to be in there. Now we want to talk about what it takes to land a Scrum job. Now, we've all been through the process where we were interviewing, right, taking the steps to be there. Now, based on your opinion, and Coach Catherine, I'm going to start with you. Based on your opinion, what do you think interviewers are looking for? There are quite a lot of people out there like, you know what, I've done everything possible and I think it's not working. So, what do you think interviewers are looking for?
So thank you so much. So as of now, like before we joined, like when we joined, that was like a long time ago. It was different. You could just go to an interview and answer questions like, "Oh, name the Scrum ceremonies." But right now, they are looking for people with hands-on experience, and secondly, they're looking for good people with good leadership qualities and people that are confident. Because again, you're coming to work with experts that know how to do the work. They don't want somebody that will be very shy and timid. So they're looking for people that are confident and people that also have hands-on experience, because now the questions have changed and they're going real deep. They'll ask you like questions that if you've not been to an actual environment or if you don't belong to a community of practice, you'll not know the answer. So I feel like as of now, they want to see people that have like hands-on experience and people that have confidence. So those are the two main things I could say as of
All
now.
right. So you spoke about two main important things: hands-on experience and also confident. And I
Yes.
want Coachella to pick it from there while also sharing what she think recruiters, or not recruiters though, interviewers are looking for.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Doug.
Thanks.
That's a very important question. So, just like Coach Catherine said, we are looking forward personality. This is a role that you get to deal with people that are doing the actual hands-on. So they are trying to look for that individual that you can not only communicate with these people, but be able to connect with them even beyond work. So when you go for these interviews, bring out your personality, right? Who you are. I know most at times we go for interviews and we feel like, okay, it's more or less we treat it like an interrogation, question and answers. But then I would advise that we go in, treat it like a conversation. That is what the people want to see, right? In as much as you have the knowledge, you can have the knowledge, but you don't have the personality. And I must tell you, 80% of the role while you're on the job is going to be your personality. How are you able to connect with these people? How are you able to get them to open up to you with the challenges that they are facing as a team, as individuals, even beyond work? So that personality, please, we really have to put it on. Smile, right? Don't go sitting like I'm so tense, I'm waiting to have questions and just answer them. Treat it like a conversation, be conversational, right? And bring out that personality. Of course, you have to know your hands on. And this is where I say most of the times we are timid. I've been there before. When we go very tense, it's because we do not know the knowledge. So most of my first interviews, I used to be very tense because I'll be asking in my head, I'm not sure what they are going to ask me will be something that I've learned, and I don't know everything yet. But and I don't even know up to 80%. So
Yeah.
there's that panic. But once you begin to check the list, okay, do I know my Scrum events? Check. Do I know what happens in those events? Am I able to address any questions that might rise from any of those events? Check. Do I know what my team is working on? Check. And you're beginning to check all of those things. Once you get in there, you realize that the tension isn't as much as when you don't know. So in as much as you want to bring your personality, you have to know your material. You agree with me that if anybody asks you in an interview, tell me how your week is, not Scrum. Of course, you will not panic because it's your week. You live it, you know
Yeah.
it. There will be that confidence in the way you will say it, and you flow and you bring out the personality. So that is what they are looking for. Yes, the knowledge and the personality, because both of them go together. Thank you, Doc.
Okay, that's what we are looking for. We are looking not just for the knowledge, the personality. Yeah, and this is a kind of very important aspect. I think we spoke about confidence. We spoke about you knowing it, and Coachella made a very important point. If I ask you how was your day, you're not gonna guess to tell me how your day was, which is a very it's a big important point. Um, for anyone looking to get into the Scrum space. And I see Kima had a question, and he said, please, my question is, what's the main purpose of Scrum Master in a company uh, that have agile coaches? Okay, so what's the main purpose of a Scrum Master in a company that have agile coaches? I think we'll definitely, I'm going to reserve this question a bit. And Kima, the reason I'm reserving this question a bit, because it's a bit higher compared to the level where we are now, right? We're going to move into a bit of other position within the space of agile, and then we're going to come to that question, right? So that our next question will actually kind of usher us to answering that question in there. And our next question today, it's talking about the future of Scrum, right? And and I know a lot of people look at Scrum as, oh, the Scrum market is fading out or it's going to
Saturated.
vanish somewhere soon. It's just something that's rising now and it's going to go away in a bit. But then I want us to kind of look a bit more deeper into that, right? For some of us who are in the space, but definitely I would like to hear from Coach Catherine. Do you think Scrum is going somewhere anytime soon?
Not even in the next 30 years.
Why are you so confident?
Because like looking like okay, like as of now, because I'm also like a release manager, looking at like the roadmap of my company, I already see they have like plans for like 2035. So that alone tells me Agile is going, Scrum is going nowhere. And colleges and universities have implemented Scrum and Agile in their curriculum. So that alone also tells me Scrum is here to stay. And there are a lot of companies around my neighborhood looking for Scrum Masters. A lot. All companies are going Agile. And again, like what's going to be Scrum? Like, are they going to build a product for one day? I'm not sure. So I feel like Scrum is one of the best ways to manage product delivery because shorter time, fast time to market rate, and all the good things it comes with. So with all that, I feel like Scrum is going nowhere. Scrum is
All
here to
right.
stay.
And Kushala, what's your opinion? Is it going? Do you think it's going anywhere?
I'll agree with Coach Catherine. It's not going anywhere. But besides, there was a way of working before Agile came in,
Yeah.
and because that way of working wasn't as effective, then Agile came in. So if something came in to replace the majority of how another thing was working, I don't think Scrum is going anywhere. And when we look at, especially in the software development world, there's a lot of changes.
Yeah.
Something is out today, tomorrow that way of working or
Absolutely.
that particular technology is out of date, right? And Scrum or Agile gives us that flexibility for the companies to be able to adapt as the goal, so
Mm,
that by the time we are done with this product, it's not um, um, useless in the
Obsolete.
market. Yes,
Mhm.
so I don't think it's going anywhere. I've seen in my organization how effective that is, and where I work, actually, we are the way they are coming with the agile mindset. They want all the teams, aside the fact that they are scrum masters, they want to have those agile learnings to be compulsory for every team member, so they are able to learn and follow up. And my organization, actually, aside the scrum master, they have what we call the advocate role, where the like other team members to step into the role a little bit and see how it is. So they want to get as many people with the agile
yeah.
mindset as possible. So they are reinforcing. So it's absolutely going nowhere, I must say.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I would agree. Most of the company they build a whole learning center just for agile practitioner. They're not going to invest so much in something that's going away soon. Now that kind of take us to our next question. If Scrum is not going anywhere, if there are opportunities that are available like almost every day out there, now, why is it so difficult for an average person to get a Scrum Master role? We're going to start with that. Coach Ella, you want to take from there?
Okay. um Now, like I would say, yes, there are a lot of job postings every day and opportunities every day, but we must agree that two people will not put in the same effort. So the first question is, what amount of effort are you putting in to make sure that you're even shortlisted for these interviews? Because I know in when I was interviewing, one of the challenges was getting this interview scheduled, and that brings me to what our mindset is, right? It plays a lot. Before, when I want to apply for a job and I see like 200 applicants, I'll be like, okay, there's no need for me to put in because there's a lot of people already on that particular application. But with time, listening to you, Doc, over and over, and changing my mindset. So when I put in, if I see 1,000 applicants, I'll put in mine and say I'll be the one to be shortlisted for that role. So first of all, what is the mindset that you're going with into that? So when I started having the mindset, the interview started coming, right? Whilst you're preparing, of course, you have to applying for jobs is a job on its own. That's what most of us fail to understand. You have to dedicate the time. You cannot go in and put in 5 applications and you have somebody else putting in 50 to 70 applications a day. There's no way you can be able to compete with that kind of individual, right? So they get more opportunities to be able to go for these interviews. And that is why I would say, one, your mindset to put in the effort. You have to, you don't have to sit back and say, oh, recruiters are going to reach out to me. What are you doing? Are you active on LinkedIn? Right. I remember when I had to go in for LinkedIn Premium, I was discussing with Coach Kate and I was like, I'll be paying this monthly. We used to meet and we will check how much it costs us to, get on LinkedIn Premium. And yeah, it was a painful sacrifice because then, we're still struggling trying to get things in place. But those are steps that we had to take because we
Yeah.
realized that with LinkedIn Premium, you can not only apply, you can message the recruiter directly and send them a follow-up message from the application process. So the question is, what extra effort are you putting in to ensure that you get where you want to get to?
Wow. What extra effort are you putting in? I love that one. And you spoke about something which is very important. You say if you see 200, 1,000 application, you still put your application with a mindset that you would be the only person. A lot of people are discouraged, like, oh, it's already 500 people. I don't think nobody's going to look at me. So they already have that mental defeat, which I think it's one of the biggest problems in the market. And Coach Catherine, I definitely you have something important to add. There. No, Coach Catherine is very big on positive energy. I think
Absolutely.
you have a lot to
You
tell.
already know. Yes. Yeah. So thank you, Doc. Like Coach Ella said, what's your mindset? your mindset plays a big like a big role, because the way you think, like what you think it's the actual result that you have. So like Coach Ella said, you'd be like, oh, okay, let me just put in my application. I know they won't call me. Guess what? That's exactly what will happen. They will not call you. And sometimes too, when we get shortlisted for these interviews, recruiters are the gateway to the hiring managers. The way you speak to recruiters to either make them to put you in front of the hiring manager or not. Sometimes you just go to the recruiter and you're like, you don't know your onions, you don't know anything.
Yeah.
Guess what? They will not put you forward, because again, they also have a percentage, a commission to get when you get this offer. So at the end of the day, they'll reach out to many people and they'll see the best, they'll pick out the best candidate that will get them this offer, because they also have the commission. So like Coach Ella say, your mindset, how much you know, do you know the material? Because sometimes God might give you just two opportunities and they go and mess that up. Guess what? You might stay in the market for a longer time. So get ready so that when you get that opportunity, you don't mess it up.
Well, get
Doc,
ready.
sorry, just to add real quick on the
Yeah.
recruiters thing. Now, I used to sit and ask myself, what makes a recruiter tell a candidate, can you give me permission to modify your resume? Can you
Yeah.
give me permission to add something? It is how you're able to sell yourself to that recruiter, and they see potential and they want to make sure that this person is shortlisted, because I know that if they go in, they will bring the results. So that is why they are able to tell you, okay, let me add something to your resume so that it makes it look good, and the end client can be able to shortlist you. So treat recruiters in calls like an actual interviews. I know most of us
More,
will be like, oh, it's
even
just a
more.
recruiter call. Yes, but how you're able to express yourself to them can also challenge them to go the extra mile to make sure
Yeah.
that they get you shortlisted for that interview.
Yeah.
That is very correct. I do agree with you. And just to add also on that, sometimes many people listening, they will tell you, oh, you know what, I do 100 application a day. I don't get a single call from a recruiter. Oh, I get recruiter calls and I don't get moved to the next phase. Now we've addressed some of those challenges that kind of hold people back. Number one, the way you talk, right? Sometimes you may have a very polished resume, but then they're expecting the person behind that resume to reflect. Now they're trying to match. They see that, oh, this is really not true. Now, another thing which I want to add also is about the qualification. Majority of the people applying, with all due respect, have just a PSM, right? And most often the people really want it, they have not just PSM, they have SAFE, they have ROTE, some even have agile coaches and SPCs, and you realize that your competitive level is actually low. Now, this actually take us to the question um, Kima asks, which is what's the role of an agile coach in the company? A lot of people know about Scrum Master. They know after Scrum Master, there's nothing else apart from Scrum. But then Scrum, it's more like the first phase of you starting within the agile space, right? Just to give you a bit of the infrastructure or the bit of the layout of the agile environment. Now, you can classify them into three different layers. You have the team layers, those who do the work, the knowledge workers. They're supported by Scrum Master. Now you go to the second layer, those who actually do more of the planning of the work that is going to be done. There you have agile coaches and then drive the process. And then you go to the third layer, those who have the entire company to configure on how they are going to do agile. You have enterprise coaches. So you can start the journey as a scrum master, you can grow into an agile coach. At the level of agile coach, you can still even pivot to a program manager. You can pivot to a portfolio manager. You can pivot to an epic lead. You can pivot to a product manager. So there's so many opportunities, right? And which you can build yourself in. So I think it's a golden opportunity, and a lot of people have not yet taken it serious. And many people are still doing try and error. Now, I tell a lot of people, and I used to say it like 2 years ago, and the reality is kind of getting done on so many people. I said, look, now like this, it's kind of, I would say, with less than $5,000, you can get certification, get trained, and get a job. In the next 2 years, with $10,000, $20,000, you will not be able to get a Scrum job. Why? Now, institutions are adopting that as a curriculum. Now, imagine someone that studies Scrum 4 years in the university already have a certification in that. So you must be willing to invest at the first phase. Scrum is at its first phase. It's moving to the next phase where the access is going to be very difficult. One of the reasons why we are going to have people sacrifice the time and come share is because we want people to be able to see what it takes and to be willing to pay the price. All right, so we're going to go to our next question for today, and then we'll take more questions from the public, right? We'll spend about 20 minutes just taking questions from the public. So get your questions ready. Our next question for today is now I want to talk about the role of a Scrum Master. A lot of people don't understand the role of a Scrum Master, as basic as it seems, right? Now let's hear from the expert. Now, based on your experience, what will you say is the role of a Scrum Master in a company? Now, why am I asking this question? I've I've had a lot of people. I talk to a lot of people looking for a job, and most often what I do is I ask them the question, "Hey, what do you think is your role as a Scrum Master?" And most of the response I get like, "Oh, as a Scrum Master, I help the company in project, and I run this project for the company, and I do this for the company, and I do this for the company." And it's like, okay, we need to definitely check if people actually understand what the role of a Scrum Master is all about. And at the end of this call, we're also going to give room for very few people, not everybody, to book also an opportunity to be evaluated and to see how we can help them. But then let's give it back to our guests today, and let's start with Coach Ella. Coach Ella, what do you think is the role of a Scrum Master?
Thank you, Doc. Great question. So, first of all, as a Scrum Master, you're there to ensure that we deliver the product in high value, right? And if you come from that mindset of it's about making sure that the team is able to deliver the product that they are working on in high value, then you begin to see that your role goes beyond facilitating Scrum events. Because I know most people will be like, I facilitate the Scrum events, I remove impediments, I work closely with the product owner. It goes beyond that,
Yeah.
right? So we are involved throughout the process, ensuring that we are able to deliver that product in high value. Now, the truth is, it's going to vary from environment to environment. For my environment, Scrum is not about facilitating events. Now, there's a lot of workshops that will require your input. There's a lot of time that you have to. Most of the time, these developers don't really, understand these reports and all of that. There will be times that you have to, explain to them what the different reports mean, how what are the baseline, what does good looks like in a particular matrix. We want to utilize this matrix, so you have to make your team to understand the overall goal is to make sure that we deliver in high value. And also in my organization, we are also big with continuous delivery cycles, right? So you get to understand that don't go with the mindset of I'm going to facilitate events. Please, you are involved in the whole process of delivering that product, right? So, and you have them ask you those questions. You don't want to go and, they start asking you, or they're in the absence of an agile coach and a team is new. Guess what? The Scrum Master, you have to assume that. So you have to know when to you're not only there as a facilitator, because as a facilitator, yes, you facilitate the events, but you're there as a teacher. You have to teach them areas that they don't understand, reports that they don't understand, that they want to understand how that is read. You have to teach them. You have to be a mentor. So you have to understand when to wear each of these hats in the job site. And overall, of course, you might also have opportunities to sit with stakeholders and all of that, right? Um, just a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to Coach Kid, and I was like, we have a director coming in, and they've requested I have a one-on-one with him in person, face to face. So, and and I reached out to her and a couple of my other friends that are in the agile space. I was like, oh, I'm not sure what conversation I'm going to be having with the director of software development, like coming from the headquarters. But then, you know, he was focused on how can we help these teams, right? what can you tell me about the teams? Are the challenges, and how do you think you can help this team? What is the morale of the team? I know most of those little things we don't focus on as Scrum Masters, but those are things that really matter. You might be in a spotlight where you have to tell them, how do you help these teams? What are um, some challenges that they are facing, and what are some of the experiments? We like to use the word experiments in my environment that you want to run, right? So of course you have to, what are they facing? Do we require them to swam? Do we require them to do peer programming? Do we have to do experiments to boost up their surveys and all of that? So we had all of those conversations. So overall, because those people, they understand that the little things that we feel that don't matter a lot in the workspace. There's a lot of stress, so they want to see how you're able to help your team members get through this, not only about facilitating the event, but are you able to identify these challenges? Are you able to come up with some experiments that you can help your team to overcome these challenges?
Wow, that's a powerful response. And definitely, I know Coach Catherine also have a lot to pour in the. Coach Catherine, what is the role of Scrum Master?
All right, thank you, Doug. So, like Coach Ella said, first you're there to make sure you deliver a product in high quality using the agile best practices and processes. So we don't just facilitate events. So you need to be a coach. You need to know like when to step in. Like if you get into a company and you have a new team, what do? You will not just go and push agile to the team. You need to take baby steps first. You need to meet the team where they are, and then do those workshops. Teach them all the agile best practices the best practices and the principles of agile and Scrum. And then you also need to, like I always say, humanize your team. These people are humans, they're not robots. So first off, you need to connect with them. That's the first thing. Like I feel like when you have this good relationship with the team, you build trust, good relationship. It's like the foundation for a high performing team. Do this. If you need to do like workshops and do workshops, do like team building activities, fun activities, because these people like to have fun. Do end of year parties. We do a lot because those things make these people to be more productive. And then appreciate your team. Do what you have to do for the team. And then there are times when you need to just sit and listen to the team, give suggestions when you need to, but most times just listen and pay attention to the needs of your team and then take it up from there. But my best, but if like now if you're going for interviews, please, the last word in your mouth should be, oh, I facilitate event and remove impediments. Those should come at the last, like the last point. Or don't even say that all, because why every manager say he doesn't want to hear that. Like they don't want to hear that. There are different things to do. You support your team to write user stories, acceptance criteria. A lot of things you do as Scrum Masters. You also make sure you're an extra eye for your team. Is there an email that is coming in that you need to bring it up during daily stand-ups? You need to flag that and bring it up during daily stand-ups. Are they follow-up conversations that you need to pick up from? Yes, Scrum Master, you need to pick it up and then get the follow-up, get the help or whatever the team needs and bring it back to the team. So
Wow, wow, that's a lot. And you guys kind of just talk as it's very easy, and it's like, why is it so easy? I said it's very easy, right?
yeah.
Um, and I actually love the comment from Coach Lydia, and she said, "Dress professionally. I've interviewed candidate. I am so shocked on their appearance." Right. So it's a very important part. Now you hear about Coachella spoke about having to meet with one of the top people in the organization, and sometimes when you're the person who is facilitating, right? You expect to be a servant leader, lead by example. So sometimes even before you say something, they've already disqualified you, right? And also not just that. I think why I'm also going to give my own a bit of contribution on the role of a Scrum Master from my own perspective as well. It might be a bit different, but I just also wanted to say about because Coach Lydia brought something up about interviewing. Now, in interviewing, one of the most important thing a lot of people ignore is their background. Right. Now, if I could do solo right here, I could bring me solo. You can see my background, right? It looks professional. Now, if I could go back and I bring Coach Catherine solo, you can see the background is professional, not distracting. Good. If I could go back and bring Coach Ella solo, you are going to see the same thing. Now, one of the things you don't want to do most often on interviews, which a lot of people don't pay attention to that, don't use backgrounds, like very cool and catchy backgrounds or so. They're good if you're already working, but then in a interview, you want to come really prepared and natural, right? Those background because if you don't have a green screen, sometimes when you move your head, you realize you kind of get missing in the cloud, right? And all of that. So and also the reason why and it's an important evaluation point. I've been in a panel where those who came with a visual background they actually just like put them next point, right? Yes, because they feel like you have time enough to prepare, so you should look for a space that you could really sit down and communicate. And now getting back to the role of a scrum master, I always say if I were to summarize what a scrum master do, or if you were to be acting an interview, what is your role as a scrum master, and you have 30 seconds to tell them what your role is, what exactly would you say? Right. And I think I did a training. I'll find a way to share that link, how to say it, because this is also where a lot of people are missing it. How do we say it in a way that comes out good? I do a training on that. I'll share the link for people who are interested in getting that course. Now, I will say as a Scrum Master, I help my team deliver business value. I help my team deliver business value using the Scrum approach. When talk about the Scrum approach, I'm talking about focusing, pay attention on the customer, and delivering incrementally and engaging all the stakeholders to make sure that everyone is in alignment with the final product, right? I could say this 10 different times and say it in a different way, but then kind of mastering your craft is one of the stuff you want to do. All right. So, our last question before we go ahead, you can start putting in your questions while we take our last question from this end, and we're going to turn to the public to now take your own question. Now, can you share with us now? Let's do this. What is a typical day at work for you as Scrum Master, Coach Catherine? Let's start from you. What's a
Right.
typical day
Okay.
like?
All right. So, like, typically, I always start my day at 6 because I need to wake up, do what I need to do, exercise, and just get in the right mindset before I start work. And then I make sure if it's, let's say, if it's a Monday, I'll just make sure I drop a motivational code for my team and then check my emails, flag the emails are important to me, and then go check my Scrum board, make sure I capture the board, get like all the updates on the stories, on the task, and then I start my meetings, which is always my daily stand. I make sure I capture those updates. And then, like 2 months ago, I created a OneNote where I always write like the updates, daily stand up updates on my OneNote. So, whatever updates they give, I make sure I write it down and then follow up with them to make sure everything is going well. And then sometimes I don't only attend Scrum meetings, we have our code and configuration meetings where we'll talk about the codes that will be going to a different environment and I need to drop it there for migrators. And then I also have the Scrum of Scrums, which Scrum Masters take 10 to facilitate, also facilitate that. And then what other meetings? Sometimes we have release review meetings. So depending what meeting it is, sometimes we have like maybe we could just have um like a little party or let's say someone had a birthday and we need to have like our virtual happy hours, we also do that because I feel like that has also helped to motivate my team more. And then from time to time, I always make sure I send like appreciation messages to my team members and always check them constantly. I always check on them, not about the work. I always try to check. Oh, especially if I always try to follow up on them if they tell me something, especially if they're like, okay, my daughter is sick. I think on Wednesday, one of my team members' daughter was very sick, so she now make it to the meeting. So I had to make sure I follow up with her. Like, okay, today, how's your daughter doing? Hope she's getting better. So basically, those are my days. I have a lot of meet. Some days I have a lot of meetings. Some days I need to do a lot of follow ups. But again, it's a rewarding career. So if you're trying to get on this space, you need to work for it. Like you need to do what you have not been doing before. And I feel like Doug and Coach L, I think you can attest to this. Like sometimes the biggest challenge or barrier for us getting this job is because we feel like we already know everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to unlearn some things and then go, like if you already know everything and it does not giving you the result, it means you're lacking something. Go back to the drawing board and start. Go back over your notes and just relearn and then unlearn something. Yeah, basically that's how my day goes. It's a rewarding career, I must say. Thank you, Doc.
Wow, thank you. I quite remember. I use when I work out some days. I always ask myself, most of these people work at night. Sometimes we wake up with uh, about 14, 15, 50 emails,
Yep.
and you need to start getting on them as early as possible. And now this is also because I noticed like most of the people at leadership they work more at night.
Mm-hmm.
Because during the day they actually on a whole lot of
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and being a scrum master, one of the things I've learned is you need to learn discipline and how to be organized. If not, you miss out on a whole lot of communication, and that's a very big gap. Coachella, please share with us what's your day like?
Thank you, Doc. My typical days slightly different since I'm more on the agile course side. Um, I have a lot of workshops, a lot of workshops that I run with the teams, um, with leadership as well, because we are not. That brings us to. I saw somebody put a question on what's the role of a Scrum Master if you have an Agile coach. Because the Agile coach doesn't only focus on the level of the team, but the overall organization. So we have a lot of these workshops that we have to run with leadership and just basically bringing in scenarios. So we can take a scenario of something that didn't go well that is going on with the team and kind of display that on the mirror board, and during the leadership meetings you kind of have them give different options. Is there a situation that you should step in? Because we also realize that there are times that these developers, they have their managers. There are times that those managers step in situations where they could have step back and allow the developers resolve that. So we kind of have these workshops and just to have a conversation. Do you think it's a situation that you're supposed to step in? And also, how do you step in also matters, right? So we trying to build this mindset, because we know that the traditional project management way is not the same like the agile way. So how do you step in to not come from a place of attack and all of that? I do attend all the Scrum events, but my organization actually took us through this training. So it's called Training from the Back of the Room, right? So
Wow.
they gave me this book. So more or less like we train from the back of the room. I'm there, but then helping them do it. For example, they have a shortcoming, right? I don't want to give them solution. I want to drive them to come
Mhm.
up with those solutions. So those are some of the things that I do as well in my day to day. So like I said, from the standpoint of an agile coach, there's a lot of those workshops, a lot. You have my managers reach out and say, can you run story mapping workshop for the leadership in Atlanta? I know you've run so many of those workshops before, and you know,
You
so
can let me know.
you always have to be at the top of your game. And
Yeah.
also that made me to understand that
Yeah.
learn those tools, right? How
Mhm.
many tools can you utilize? I didn't know there was a lot that Miro could do when I started running this workshop. So let's take our time to learn those tools, because yes, you might be put on the spotlight and you start feeling overwhelmed.
All
Learn
right.
those different tools that are out there that you can use to facilitate. Learn different ways to facilitate, right? This training from the back of the room are just different techniques that you can use to facilitate with your team, which is what I'm implementing, right? Try different ways, spice it up, make it look nice. And I remember one of them that we learned from the training was picture picture strums speaking. So like the ones you like, okay, try another way of facilitating. Have them, in the retrospective, you can have them. Can you draw an image or something that depicts how you felt about the last spring that just went? And one of the team members actually drew a fish, and the fish was out of water. So when she put up her picture, she was like, what do we see? We said we see a fish. And she said, what do we notice? We said we notice the fish is out of water. She said that is how she feels. She feels she's drained out. Life is draining out of her.
Wow.
Because there was so much to do.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so there's a lot of these different ways to facilitate, as
Yeah.
opposed to just come share your screen and
Mm-mm.
okay, let's dive into what is going on. So look for those other ways. You can use these things in your interviews, right? That's what they want to hear. They are looking for something new. What is it that we want to hear that we've not heard before, that you're bringing in, for the team? So yes, I would think, I would say, leverage this thing. You have to invest in yourself, right?
Okay.
uh, um i'm I, aside the fact that we are working, myself and Coach K, we still have, like, follow up, buy
Learn
books.
books.
I
Okay.
didn't used to like books before, but when I started listening to Doc, he was like, buy the books, keep them there. Every day you see them, and one day you pick it up and read it.
Yeah.
And so I started buying those books. Guess what? When I look at it, sometimes I'm like, oh, this is my money sitting here. And I would have to, pick it up and read those
Maybe.
books.
Yeah.
Yes. So you have to be able to push yourself and, learn more, so you can, when
Yeah.
you speak in interviews, they know that
Yeah.
uh, there's
Yeah.
more that you can
That's
do.
if I can add to
Yeah.
me, like sometimes we just like don't be like the regular person. That's what like my most recent job. That's what gave me my job. Like they asked the question on retrospective, and I went. I don't box myself, so I won't say I went outside the box. I went outside the sky because that's how wide it is. And now I got in. There are many things they don't do for their during their scrum or scrum, and I started doing this. Everybody loves it, and because of that, leadership is talking about me. And I feel like they're like, okay, who is this person? Like, who is this new person that is bringing these changes? So those little things don't go unnoticed, and they actually nickname me Queen of Icebreakers. So they can now call me Queen of Icebreakers. So think outside. Like I was even doing your interviews, like Coach Ella said. Like now like so I just do practice interview just for practice sake, and I always get the offer, same as Coach Ella, because I went for an interview and they asked me a question. What did I did was I was like, oh sorry, can you give me a minute? I shared my screen. I had my slide presentation on estimation on my laptop. I shared them like, okay, this is what I'll do my team. That's the level of practicality they want to see now. They're tired of hearing, oh, I'll fast. No, they don't want that practicality.
Wow.
Don't during daily stand up. Don't say, "Oh, I'll ask that to." No, I share my screen. That's what they want to see. So
Wow.
please, we need.
Uh,
We have.
just
We
adding
You
to
guys are making this thing look so easy.
just adding to
Like,
it's
that,
easy.
what Coach Kate said.
yeah.
I remember I was in an interview and they were like, how will you support a product owner that is new with prioritization? I know most of the time we'll just say we use the Moscow, but you have to go above and beyond, right? And so when that question came, I told him, I like to do like the story mapping workshops, right? Where I encourage the team, when we have a new epic that we're about to start in, let's map it out, map out those stories, look at using the personnel of the end user of that particular functionality that we're about to build. And because we are together as a team, we'll be able to capture the different personalities that will interact with these particular functionalities. And that will help us to do or to be able to map out those stories and make sure that we capture every user story that we need for that functionality. And then we can start looking at what can come first, what must we have before we start bringing in the Moscow technique. I most of the time will say, oh, I'll use the Moscow technique, but then practicals, right? There's no way you sound like this and tell them they'll actually map out capturing the personnel, and then from there you're able to, as a team, helping the product owner to make those decisions, looking at it, because at the end of the day, some product owners are not technical. My product owner is not technical, so he falls back to the team. And
Yeah.
when we do these story mapping workshops, the team does the technicalities. They can say, okay, XYZ can be done before we can even start go into this. So we have all of that map out, and we are able to really, come out with those priorities, except something else come along the way.
Wow. So much to learn, and we have very limited time. And someone spoke about reading books, and
Yeah.
even if you feel like you don't want to read by them, I have a book that's been sitting on my desk. I need to read it soon. Handbook for program management.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's a very good technique. When you buy it, make sure it sits somewhere until you read it. Don't take it away from there. So very important. Now, for those who are still in the job market, right? Coachella. Last week I had Coach Alfred. We have Coachella. We have Coach Catherine. Next week we are going to be having more coaches, right? All of them are part of a powerful community of practice, and most of what you kind of hear, you can actually get them in practice before you get a job. So towards the end, I'm gonna I'll tell you how to book an appointment if you definitely want to get more of this. Now let me tell you guys how my day work. Right, I'm in an agile space, and my day is actually a bit different from Coach Catherine, also a bit different from Coachella. Right, so actually more or less work at a phase where they're making a decision on bringing in a new product into a company, right? Before they even go to the phase where they decide if it's going to go through PI or product manager or not, right? So, a couple of things that happen is whenever a decision is made for a product that need to go through a company, they have what is called a work of statement, right? This is exactly what we want to do. Now, when we have the work of statement, which are the meeting I need to schedule with vendors, with all the stakeholders, now we move to a phase where we need to do solutioning, right? This is just a statement. We want to build this. How do we turn that statement into a solution? Now, when we get into solutioning, that's where we take our epics, right? That's where we take our epics from those solutioning. And before we get to the solutioning, where we have the solution intent document, there's so many stakeholders need to come to a conversation because it's actually impacting a lot of people. And then we'll come up with a solution in 10 where we pull out the epics. And out of the epics, we now pull out the capabilities, and then we can start breaking it down to futures and pushing it down to stories. So now this why am I explaining this? Right. This is just to tell you how many layers you can get in within the Scrum journey. And for many people who are definitely you want to get in there and you're not looking forward to actually invest, you're doing yourself a big disservice. It's either you're in or you're out. That's the way it is now. There's no running around
Yeah.
the process right now. All right, perfect. We have about 10 minutes to go. We want to do justice to kind of just take questions purely from the our team now. Someone actually asked me, type out my definition of Scrum. So, okay, I'll try to do that before I go. Right, I'll try to do that before I go. I think, uh, but who asked that question? I think after I asked that question, I should type out what I said when I spoke about my definition of Scrum. I'll try to do that. Hopefully, I will not forget before we leave. But then there was a question. I think there was a question that I missed out that question. Okay, this is a question. So the question was: Is a Scrum Master needed only in software development environment? Coach, who want to take that? Coach Catherine, Coach Ella?
Mm. So, to the best of my knowledge, no, not only in the software development environment. I have a friend who works in a company where they bake cakes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, and I know someone that works as a Scrum Master in a company where they sell laptops. And I know someone who works as a Scrum Master in a company where they only take contracts. So he's working just with the people who are taking the contracts. So it's not only in software
Right.
development, right? So
I have a friend. She just had a job with this insecticide company. So,
yeah. Okay, and the next question, I think Coach Ella can take this question. Uh, oh,
Hmm.
okay. Can the coaches let us know how they got their first Scrum
Okay.
Master job? Sure, that's a good question, Danny. I'm gonna start. Right. I remember when I heard about Scrum. Now, one of the things about me is that I love to do it or not do it. So if I'm doing it, I'm doing it. If I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it. And then I had to work with a coach. I had to work with a coach, one of the best coaches out there in Dallas, Texas. So I sat down with the coach, and he actually took out. We pay express, right? He normally runs a class, but we told him like, hey, we want you to take us on an express, and like it's gonna cost you more than an average. Say yes, we're ready. So he took us on an express session. More than weekends, we're gonna sit the whole day just doing Scrum, doing scenarios, doing everything. And then after that, we sat down and he helped us build, work with him to build a resume and all of that. And we started practicing. And when I had my first interview, I had a job. Like on my first very Scrum interview. Why? Because I took out the time to practice. It was like back to back, back to back. And I also had a competitive advantage because I've been doing coaching, right? I've been in this coaching space, so it wasn't so much a very big shift for me. So if you did not have your job during your first interview, no, don't bother. It's because I had some proud experience, and I also been working as a project manager for a long time, so it was easier for me to realign most of the stuff, right? So, Coach Catherine, you want to share what was the process towards your first Scrum Master job?
Okay. Thank you, Doc. So yeah, and I learned about Scrum from a friend. Then I decided to learn on my own. I did my PSM, and then I started watching YouTube videos. But it was really challenging back then because during I think we didn't have many coaches or community of practice back then. But then Doc decided to open one, and then yeah, then came my success story. But it took a while for me to land my first job. So yeah, but after that, everything else became so easy. And I feel like the only reason why I didn't have the job was because I think God was preparing me for the first job I had. So yeah, that's the only reason why I didn't have the other ones I had. I had like three interviews. I didn't get it. Then the fourth interview, I got my job. But what I'll say is you need to learn, learn, and learn. Learn everything on your resume. If you get to a point where you feel like you're not getting the result, go back to the drawing board. There's something you're not doing right. Go back to the drawing board. Don't say, oh, I know everything, but I don't know why I'm not getting the result. If you knew everything, you'd have gotten the result. So go back to the drawing board. And don't forget to pray because at the end of the day, God is the ultimate. So pray and then do the hard work because there's no other way. It's a six-figure job. You need to do six-figure work. So yeah.
I love that one. Michelle, what you want to add about
Okay.
doing a
For
six-figure
me,
work?
I would say join a community of practice.
Yeah.
Just like Coach Kate, I started off and the right one, right?
Yep.
I started off and had my PSM. I thought I was ready, and when I went for my first interview, reality hit. I when I was done, I asked myself, what did I just do? So I was watching videos that when we got to Doc, I was like, oh, when I watched a couple of his videos and then I joined. And that is when I was able to differentiate between knowledge and practicals. And I would say I was able to build my confidence from there because the truth is, I will go for an interview and they'll ask me, what's your comfort? Tell me how comfortable you are with Jira